Today I wanted to talk about an exercise that I do every day. So in my opinion, this is something like brushing my teeth. I don't enjoy it per se, but I know it has good good qualities to it, has benefits to doing it. So I keep it up. And it's not something I came up with. It's actually been passed down from my teachers, and which is Eugene Uzai. And It's I don't know if Eugenie Zai taught it to Joseph Gingold, but I believe he's one of the first persons that I heard that would do this exercise. It's almost doesn't warrant a video, to be honest, because it's a very boring demonstration. I might not even do the full demonstration because you get the idea after a while. The idea is to draw a really slow bow in a dynamic of somewhere between pianissimo and mezzo piano, um, pretty quietly, drawing a really consistent bow from nut to tip, back to nut. Um, and I don't know if there's world records or anything for this. It's not really about like how slow can you go. It's more about just really trying to keep the sound pure and notice any trouble spots. So when you look at a modern bow, um, it's it's bowed. I guess that's no, bowed kind of means this way, to be honest. But the modern bow is invertedly bowed, so it's bowed inwards, and that has some qualities to it that are good and bad. The older bows have interesting qualities too, where they're bowed actually out like a bow. Um, this on this axis, on convex. This is concave, right? So those bows have really interesting qualities, and you probably could draw perfectly uh, easy bow with a modern, so with a vintage bow, in the old style bow, just because there's no flex going inward. So with modern bows, especially if you have like a shoddy bow or not the best bow, there's going to be some trouble spots where you're drawing the bow and it wants to sort of stop in a way, and you have to sort of push through that little rough patch and keep going. This bow's decent. It's a David Samuels bow. It's like around 10K or something like that. Not that money has any not that money has any sort of indication how good a bow is, but for a modern bow, it's pretty excellent. But even this bow, it does suffer from a trouble spot right where the balancing point is, right around there, and that's where it sort of like wants to stop. So let's just try part of this exercise, and yeah, let's just go from there. So the up bow is very unnatural compared to a down bow. There's a gravity with the arm. It's just something about it. It just wants to go down. Up bow requires you're fighting gravity. So there's muscles involved that are being activated that are probably not being activated when you're going downward. So you're going to be find that the up bow wants to skip a little bit, and especially if you have a bow with a treble spot, it's going to want to stop. So you have to, this is something that just requires a ton of practice for this exercise, that when you do the up bow, you're going to notice that, oh, in order for the sound to be constant, you're going to have to do some funny things with the forearm that, and to be honest, I mean, this is why you do the exercise. It's so you know how to draw a bow, and there's these little changes that you have to do in order to keep the sounding point from not the sounding point, but keeping the sound really crystal clear. So in my case, this might, your mileage might vary. In my case, at the tip, I'm pretty good, but I have to sort of roll my shoulder forward a little bit, and then just don't add any pressure, but just start leading as if I had a hook on my forearm, middle of the forearm here, and it's just sort of like pulling the bow forward, and then it falls on the sort of away. I'm tilting the bow away from myself on the up bow, and then when it gets to the treble spot, I have to sort of flatten it out here, and then yeah, so there's like some rolling going on. It doesn't really matter what my variation looks like, because everyone's arm length is different. You're going to have, I mean, if you're a small little kid where you're playing on a full setup, I mean, their body is going to be in all kinds of different places. So I don't want to say, hey, this is what you're going to have to do in order to sort of maintain a sound. But the idea is that you're going to have to pay attention to small details in your muscles and how things are configured in order for the sound to remain pure. So this exercise, I do it, if I have a practice session that's like an hour to an hour and a half long, I'll do it maybe like 2 or 3 times within, just to give my left hand a break. I'll do some stretching, and if I'm feeling a little tired, I'll do this exercise, because it doesn't require any too much energy. Now, when you're drawing a down bow, don't be surprised that you have like a perfect batting average, but when you're going up bow, it's like you're not nailing it at all. I find that the up bow is a lot harder, so don't be too upset if you don't have like a pure sound on the up bow. Just accept, really pay attention to what's going on. Just when you try it again down the line, just sort of be prepared for the small things that you've learned from previous drawings of it, on what you need to do. Don't go crazy. Don't give yourself like a hard rule where like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to stop doing this until it sounds perfect, because you might be there for 30 minutes, because this is a long exercise. I mean, I don't know, was it a minute just going up and down? So it's a time waster for sure if you're just to try to get a perfect up bow, down bow. Just sort of do it once or twice in a practice session, and pay attention to some of the takeaways, and just hope for the best the next time, and then celebrate your wins, so to speak. It's not too much to celebrate, but if you do a good, if you have like a really perfect one once in a while, just smile and be like, yes, that was great. This is It's kind of rare to have like a perfect exercise, this bowing exercise. Now, I want to say also that this exercise, if you're ever shopping for new bows, definitely save a little time. Once you get your bows down to a couple bows that you think are excellent, you might want to purchase or borrow, whatever. Do this exercise with some of those bows that are in the top, in your top selection, because you'll find that some bows, even though they're priced really well and they play like excellent, they play very well in certain things, like they're mechanically good. They can do gymnastic things pretty easily. They feel right in your hand. If you put this exercise to some of those bows, some you'll be surprised what bows are just really supportive for this exercise versus other ones are really fighting you. So I use this exercise when I'm shopping for bows once in a while too. I don't shop for bows too often, but I definitely have done that in the past, and it really is telling how well a bow is balanced with how you want to draw a bow. Ideally, honestly, a violinist who's very accomplished should be able to like go to a bow or an instrument, pick them up, and it's like driving a race car. So you're not fighting anything. This is ideally, and it's just sort of like you're a perfect marriage of player and, and equipment. So that this is one way where this is going to be very telling if a bow is really suited for you. This exercise. So I won't do this bowing again. Usually, I like to play things a few times on these videos, but you get the idea. Use it a couple times a day in your practice session. Enjoy it. You'll learn a lot. Definitely use the whole bow. Unfortunately, for me at least, it's kind of rare where I'm always using a full bow. So this is one of those perfect times where I get to really enjoy the whole bow, like all the way down to the metal here. I forget what that thing's called. Yeah, so yeah, enjoy the exercise, and yeah, know that this exercise has been used by some great players, and it might sort of be helpful for you and maybe even your students down the line.